Resources and how it has helped the organization achieve its mandate. Planning is key and very critical and strategic to any individual or corporate entity. Smooth and successful operation is what these entail. Now, so the planning division in the Department of Petroleum Resources is in no way different as it drives all operations in the organization. But first things first, let's take a look at the current happenings in the oil and gas industry around the world. Sulaiman Alede, welcome. Training and retraining cannot be overemphasized for operators in the oil and gas industry, more so for the regulators so as to keep up with the dynamics in the industry and attain best global practice. The goal to enhance the capacity of its staff is very key, and the downstream division of the Department of Petroleum Resources, in collaboration with Brandon Technologies Limited, therefore conducted a training program in Lagos for its zonal staff. The training, which brought together senior DPR staff from Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and Kwara states, is to prepare them for the deployment of online licensing portal for lubricants, oil blending, and refining plants. The Zonal Operations Controller, Lagos, Mr. Wole Akinyoshoye, stated that the department is on the move to meeting international standards in all areas of its operation.
The future for the Department of Petroleum Resources, even the present for the future of petroleum resources, the Department of Petroleum Resources, is to migrate ourselves from analog to digital. Not because the world is doing it alone, but because we need to be able to enhance our work process. So we have drawn you from all your locations to come and attend this thing in order for us to be able to leapfrog into this process.
The downstream coordinator of the training program, Mr. Amos Peribu, gives more insight into the training.
What we have right now is actually trying to migrate that entire process onto a paperless system that can deliver more efficiently and effectively.
At the end of the training, DPR staff members are expected to be able to handle online processing of permit, grant approval of construction of lobby plans, and also grant online permit for license renewal. Some of the staff speak on the impact of training on the job.
It means it doesn't have to go to DPR office before you could apply for licenses or for permits to construct or to establish. And then the availability is everywhere, even for officers. When you have to review these applications, you could do it at your convenience.
It will enhance the registration in the sense that there is no need for marketer to be rushing down to the DPR office. You can be at the corner of your house and log online, do the registration and upload the document. And once you do that one, immediately you click submit. The application drops on the desk of the DPR.
The Lagos training is the last leg of the training process, which has been conducted in other 6 zones of the Department of Petroleum Resources. DPR Operational Controller Niger State, Abdullahi Isa, observed that more trees are now being felled by Nigerians, adding that deforestation degrades the environment. He also urged the media to educate Nigerians on the advantages of sourcing their domestic energy from gas, as well as on its safety, if safety measures are adhered to, while advising members of the public to always report the illegal activities of marketers to DPR, as such information was crucial to effective service delivery.
This is a special announcement from the Department of Petroleum Resources. Gas is safe. Gas cylinders are to be kept outside. If you're buying LPG cylinder, look for NIS number on the cylinder. Exchange of gas cylinders with retailers during purchase is best practice instead of refilling from another cylinder. Buy gas from certified LPG plant. Repairing faulty gas cylinders is unsafe. For more information, visit the nearest DPR office or our website www.dpr.gov.ng.
Welcome back. Before we get to the core of what planning division is in the Department of Petroleum Resources, I'll take a background report on the division.
Planning in any organization is key to its success. Planning is a management tool that defines the goals of an organization's immediate and future direction. It also outlines the mission and resources to achieve those set goals. The Department of Petroleum Resources is no exception. It has a whole division carved out within the organization known as Planning Division, which can be described as the engine room of the department. The Planning Division's responsibilities include the development and updating of the Department of Petroleum Resources strategic plans and its performance management system. These are required for optimal organizational and industrial performance. Steve Ayuba is the Assistant Director, Budget and Strategic Planning Arm of the Planning Division.
The Budget and Strategic Planning branch in the Planning Division of DPR is primarily responsible for ensuring that DPR as an organization delivers all the optimal value that the oil and gas industry is expected to deliver. And we do that by making sure that the Department of Petroleum Resources as an organization performs optimally as the leading regulator of the oil and gas industry. We ensure that all our business objectives are properly aligned to all the strategic objectives that the federal government of Nigeria has allocated for the sector that we oversee.
This branch, in other words, monitors the effective execution of all strategic plans in the Department of Petroleum Resources. The branch also develops and monitors effective enterprise budgeting that drives optimal organizational business performance for DPR. The Planning Division of the Department of Petroleum Resources is in addition charged with the maintenance and promotion of organizational alignment that optimizes the operational efficiency of the department as a regulator of the Nigerian oil and gas industry.
As the term implies, is creating value from what we have for the benefit of the government. In this case, we're talking about petroleum products. Crude production is, you know, that is over 90% contributory value to the economy. And the value creation, we determine how much should go to government from what is produced in the country. And we also try to evolve the processes of technology that can help us do this quickly and timely, and also determine what goes, what the company needs to pay.
The Budget and Strategic Planning Unit develops models for economic analysis of projects and assets valuation, in addition to being responsible for value monitoring and benchmarking, VMB.
There has been an outcry from the government on the need to have what we call a benchmark data of the industry. And for a long time, people are worried that what we spend in producing a barrel of crude oil is much more than other countries. And that also affects investment drive of multinational.
The Planning Division of the Department of Petroleum Resources also has revenue generation and accounting under it. The branch is in charge of all expected revenue to be generated as stipulated by the Petroleum Industry Act of 1969 as amended. The branch is in addition solely responsible for administering DPR's revenue assessment, collection, accounting and reporting. Mr. John Adewale is the Assistant Director in charge of revenue generation and accounting.
In the last few years, we have done a lot of activities that has greatly increased the revenue being generated by the department for the Federation account. when I talk in respect of the revenue in planning, I mean federation account items. We have oil royalty, we have gas sales royalty, we have concession renter, we have a gas flare penalty, we have the last and not the least is miscellaneous oil revenue.
Against this backdrop, Planning Division of the Department of Petroleum Resources has worked so hard to enhance the revenue accruable to the Federation account.
In 2017 to about 747 billion. And for the first 5 months of this year, we are happy that we have been able to collect about more than 400 billion to the Federation account. We are proud of this, and by the end of this year, we hope that we will be able to make more than 1 trillion.
This strategic division of the Department of Petroleum Resources also liaises with the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation and the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative for proper revenue audit.
This is a special announcement from the Department of Petroleum Resources. Do not keep petrol in jerrycans inside your rooms. Ensure that it is kept well outside the living environment and away from children. Avoid using your cell phone in petrol filling stations during refueling of your car. It can cause spark and ignite fire. Do not smoke or use naked light where petrol is being stored or sold. Turn off your car engine at filling station when buying fuel in your tank. Avoid filling your generating set with petrol when the engine is still running. Always ensure that the engine is switched off. Ensure that when pouring petrol into a container, it is done in a ventilated area and in safe manner. For more information, visit the nearest DPR office or our website www.dpr.gov.ng.
Welcome back. So I'll now hand you over to Antonia Amusu for an interview with the head of Planning Division and Deputy Director, Department of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Folashade Adenuga, for more insight into the functions of the division she superintends.
You're welcome to this segment of the program, and as usual, you know, this program brings you key operators in the DPR to explain their key functions and roles and how they affect the petroleum industry. Today we have Mrs. Folashade Adenuga. She's the head planning in the Department of Petroleum Resources. Mrs. Adenuga, you're most welcome to this segment of the program.
Thank you.
Very much. Okay, we just want to, like I said before we came on set, we know that planning is very strategic and key to any operations, any organization. And for you to be the head, we'd like you to explain to us, what do you do here in DPR as the head of planning?
Yeah, thank you very much. Planning is like the driving force of the Department of Petroleum Resources. What we do in planning is, one, we are directly in charge of all the revenue receivable, the statutory revenue receivable by the federal government of Nigeria. We do coordinate all the payments into all the heads of the revenue. We have the signature bonuses, we have the royalty, as in the crude oil royalty, we have the gas sales royalty, we have the miscellaneous revenue, those revenue paid in by the any other one that is not a statutory take, like petrol stations, fines, penalty, everything goes into the revenue, and this is one of the assignments we do. We are strategically planning the department by ensuring that every functions that relates to all the divisions are coordinated, and we are able to deliver based on data. If we are expected to prepare the data, we do the data. If it is a strategic plan that ensures to liaise with the budget and ensure the deliverables based on the budget, we do all of those things. So that means we are in charge of the budget of the DPR, we are in charge of the data collation for the oil and gas industry, and we liaise with the OPEC on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria.
That's quite a lot of work you do. Talking about data, that is one area that this country we are always not right on the spot. Can we really say we have the accurate and up-to-date data regarding to the operations in the oil and gas industry?
Yes, we can say that our data are accurate and very reliable. And you agree with me that they are all processed data from the companies, inclusive of NNPC. We aggregate all of this data, and the data are processed, analyzed based on the information derivable from those data. And they are very accurate in most places.
Yes, because I want to find out from you. Do you verify, how do you cross-check the data sent to you from the various organizations or oil companies to be sure that that is actually the real thing and not that they are doctored?
Yeah, like I've just told you, we're present in almost all the facets of the industry.
When you say present, what do you mean?
That means we have our staff physically present at those places. Like you know, we are inspectors of the industry. So we have our staff all over the nation. As of present, we're in almost 13 states of the Federation, inclusive of the capital. And therefore, when you talk about first-hand information, we are there. We are in all the terminals of where the crudes are off-take from Nigeria. We are present there 24/7. So we are in all the facets. So whatever data that any company is given, of course, is benchmarked by our own sign-off data on a regular basis. We sign off mostly fortnightly on all our data. However, at the end of the year, we still have the obligation to aggregate everything, and such data are placed in our website for consumption of anybody.
Have you ever heard it being said generally that Nigeria, we can't really put a figure to what we produce because nobody really knows what is happening at the various platforms and the production points?
Well, people say that because that's their opinion. But usually we tell them that we do know what we produce. Because from any field that any crude is produced, oil and gas is produced, we usually have the production meter. And we have it both at the field and at the aggregation point, where we call the flow station. At that aggregation point, we have a production meter there. And all of these meters are proven every fortnightly. That means I'm saying that before any crude or gas, or crude oil or gas gets into any pipeline. Yes, we do.
Thank you very much. So let's now go to the area of revenue. You did say that you collect revenue for the federal government. And can you explain to us which avenues you get this money from?
Yeah, we start from the lease administration. That's where we get the signature bonuses from. Usually when they sell what they call the acreages, when it is sold out, there is the signature bonus for allocating those acreages that is accrued to the federal government of Nigeria. And that we collect into the federation, into the federal government of Nigeria account. Then based on the law, we have our royalty and our payable. The royalty is based on the oil and the gas. We have the oil royalty, and based on the law again, we have the terrains onto which we collect them. That is, we have the shallow terrain, we have the deep offshore, and we have the shallow offshore too. And what we call the shallow terrain the onshore. Then we have the shallow offshore, which is just the ordinary offshore. We have the shallow offshore, then we have the deep offshore.
And when you talked about royalty, how do you calculate, or how do you arrive at calculating royalty from companies?
You know, when I was explaining to you earlier on, I told you that we have different terrains within the oil and gas. Number one, royalty are calculated based on those terrain. That is, we have a law that says on onshore, this is what you collect. On the shallow offshore, this is what you collect. On the deep offshore, this is what you collect. That is one. Then again, we have the key parameters that we look into when we want to calculate royalty payments. Now moving away from the terrain, we take the production. The production value is a very great input into whatever we are trying to get at the end of the day. We have the price. Those are the two main issues, the price, the royalty, and like I told you, the terrain dictates, and equally the quality of the crude dictates. We have what we call the API gravity. We need to look into all of those because at the end of the day, They are what we put into the price model to be able to get what we use to evaluate. In the collectibles, we have the gas flaring. The value of the gas flaring is already stipulated. As of today, is 3.50 naira per each scuff meters that is being flared. However, what we do is, like I said to you, we get the volume of the gas, because at the point of the flare, we have a meter. However, it's not all flare that actually attracts penalty. There are flares that are there for technical reasons.
Now you're saying by the year 2020,
yes.
I wish sure 2020 we are really going to end gas flaring.
I am almost sure that the day will be realistic, because the program of achieving it is already very advanced, and there is no way we will not achieve it.
Yeah, money is key to everything. Like we said again, you are the chief collector of revenue for the federal government in the oil and gas industry. How are you faring in this responsibility of yours?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because everything boils down to money. Yeah, I will tell you that to most companies, yes, we are doing very well. The international oil companies, we are very sure that they pay as a when due.
So what about the other players in the industry, on the local ones? Do they all pay when they're supposed to pay? Do they pay?
Those are the ones I refer to as the marginal field operators. Those are the people that I'm saying that indeed they do pay. However, their payment is prompt based on their interpretation of the regulations that sets them up.
Okay, let's talk about transparency in the oil and gas industry.
Oil and gas production is very transparent, because you have the facets of the production right from the wellhead. And I tell you, right from the wellhead, we're there. We know what each company can produce. We are the one that give them the technical allowables on a biannual basis. That means what you can flow out of your well. And further to that, I just told you that the aggregates of the wells are made through the flow station. And from that flow station, we have a production meter. And from the production meter, whatever that is oil will be separated, water will be separated, gas will be separated. Therefore, if it is oil that you're producing through your pipeline, you have only oil there. And if it is gas, you have only gas there. And at the end of the day, all of these are moved right into the terminal. And when it gets into the terminal, we are there to account for it.
You are so confident and proud that your staff, they're everywhere. In every sector of this operation, you have your staff, they're there. Are we sure there's no collision anywhere?
I've been doing this job for 35 years. I know it's like ABC. So I know very well that in the chain, there could not be any interference. There could not be. And there is no how you can get any additional crude. As a matter of fact, the person that is in the terminal will not sign anything for you. He will not sign the bill of lading. He will not sign the quantity certificate if the ship and the shore values does not tally. He will not sign it.
So before we let you go, can we just hear from you? Where do you hope to see DPR maybe in the short term, maybe medium term, in terms of planning and their operations?
Oh, I'm glad that you asked me that question, because the DPR that I know 5 years ago is not the DPR that we have now. The DPR that we have now, that's what I'm telling you. The DPR that we have now, the DPR that is evolving now, is a DPR that is so technically driven. It's a DPR that have the seasons of the engineers at hand. It's the DPR that is capable to unravel everything that you need to drive this industry. The new DPR is efficient. The new DPR is effective. And it's going to take the industry to the next level. I tell you the truth.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Olashade Oduniga, Head Planning, Department of Petroleum Resources. It's really been quite enlightening talking to you and getting to learn more about the operations of DPR. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Many thanks, Antonia, and for that wonderful interview. We've all been enlightened, especially me, and of course I know you too. Well, next week will be another date for us to catch up on happenings around the industry. And I do hope that you'll be here to spend some time with me as we do a little bit of catch-up. Many thanks for watching.